Magandang umaga sa lahat ng tagapakinig ng DZBA Teleradyo. I am your host Tin and welcome to today's episode of Fact Hero. Dahil dito sa programang ito, tayo ay gigil at nais lumaban sa disinformation at yung mga tinatawag nating marites na hindi good vibes ang hatid sa social media, tayo ay nag-imbita ng isang resource person na araw-araw ay nakikipagbakbakan sa larangan ng journalism. Today's guest is the president of Multimedia Production Startup Life, LYF, who founded in 2018 with documentarist Atom Araulio, broadcast industry veteran Rupert Ambil, and advocacy specialist Zach Yuson. He also serves as Chief Content Officer of the group's independent media outfit, FYT, which promotes community journalism and highlights courage in stories. As a journalist, he covers the environment, climate change, disasters, human rights, and development stories. A founding member of Rappler in 2012, he steered award-winning digital campaigns and platforms such as Not on Our Watch or Now PH, Climate Action PH, and Agos Ibayanihan until 2018. He is a graduate of BA Social Sciences, double major in Economics and Political Science from the University of the Philippines College, Baguio. Mga kaibigan, he is my schoolmate, dormmate, and roommate in college, and a DecVom advocate. Introducing Mr. Voltaire Tupas.
So first question ko is, how does the proliferation of fake news affect your work in the newsroom? So what is it like to be a journalist during the fake news era? Especially for someone like you, very active ka sa digital platform.
Yeah, actually napaka-challenging ng mga panahon ngayon. These are challenging times for journalists. In fact, parang we're facing an existentialist parang na era. Kasi it's a question now of the relevance of journalism in the context of the digital world, na kung saan the landscape is really changing, partly because of technology, and of course also because of how people use new tools in creating content. Halos lahat na ay may access sa internet at mobile technology. So kahit sino pwedeng maging content creator. So parang in terms of capacity to tell stories, to provide information, hindi na lang siya role ng journalist. So yun yung isang malaking challenge na okay naman in an ideal situation dahil it has democratized access to information and also the presentation of information. Kaya lang maraming disruption dahil nga sa lumalaking problema ng disinformation. Now it has obviously become influence operation on the part of many vested interests like politicians, the advertising world. Hindi na lang siya parang ginagamit ng ordinary citizens or ng media. Kaya ano na niya, ang dami ng players, ang daming actors, at hindi siya generally yung parang dati na parang happy ka lang just to reconnect, just to entertain yourself. Ngayon toxic na siya. Yes. So it has increasingly become more difficult for us to compete because you are presented, the audience is presented with many options. At ang isa sa mga dominant ngayon na kino-consume ng audience ay yung fake information. Ang sad nga kasi yung tawag na fake news na oxymoron siya kasi supposedly ang news ay fact
Yes.
based.
Oo, oo.
Pero dahil popularize ni Donald Trump yung term two malign media,
Mm-mm.
so yun yung naging parang common term na ano, although we try not to use fake news, we call it fake information, false information. Yeah. So yun, it's really challenging. Parang we're trying to combat the problem, to address and find solutions, pero it will be a long-term process.
Kasi parang lahat ngayon pwede nang ano, no, maging quote-unquote journalist, mag-create ka lang.
Yeah,
Oo.
correct.
Information.
What separates journalist from the rest? Syempre yung kanyang discipline, yung kanyang
Mm.
practice. Kasi as a profession, it's basically the practice of verification, vetting, so truth
Hintayan.
telling.
Oo.
Oo, so mayroong method, merong rigor. Supposedly, ikaw ay dapat uh, at all times truthful, fact-based yung reporting, balanced,
Yeah.
and syempre dapat humane ka sa storytelling and ethical in general. So yun yung core values pa rin ng journalism na hindi mo makikita sa ibang content creators kasi
Mm.
yung pag content creator ka, accountable ka sa sarili mo at saka syempre sa audience mo, pero wala kang process ng vetting, hindi tulad ng journalist. You can self-publish. There has to be an editor. So kung nagkamali ka, um accountable ka sa isang organization, news organization, to your audience, to the public, and wala kang choice kundi i-correct, mag-iratum, ganyan. So yun yung kaibahan.
Nagpa-flashback sa akin ang ating mga ano, yung mga klase ko nung nung
Exactly.
college, 'di
Na
ba?
basically, yun, ibang era yun.
Mm.
Ng panahon, wala naman tayong masyadong, ano pa lang yun eh. Friendster, yung issue mo lang noon ay
Oo. Wala pa nga yata.
testimony. Wala pa ba? Ganyan. Kasi nasa ano tayo noon eh, nasa transition period
Mm.
ng digital era.
Oo.
So ngayon, iba na talaga yung world. It's a changing landscape. It has eroded the influence of media. So ganun na, it is what it is.
Yeah. Sige. Given that, do you believe that ano, yung tinatawag na fake information, does it somewhat derail us from being able to address mga real issues, mga social issues, political issues? Ano ba siya? Parang is it a blunder towards true development?
Yeah, actually malaking disruption yung kanyang dinudulot sa truth telling kasi ngayon mas binabasa na ng audience yung mga um, entertaining na content,
Mm.
highly emotional content, often lies or mga misleading information na walang context, ganyan. So, at napaka brief yung content. Minsan wala nang room for context at pag-deepen ng storytelling, no. So, it disrupts yung storytelling in terms of form, in terms of substance, as far as journalists are concerned. At malaking impact yan kahit sa the academic world, kahit sa development world, dinidisrupt niya yung flow of information. Alam naman natin pag hindi accurate yung information, yun ay may impact sa outcomes ng ating mga trabaho. Kung journalist ka at mali ang impormasyon na kumakalat, syempre, yung decision making ng public opinion making ay hindi na rin nagiging informed or hindi quality yung result.
Mm. Sige. As a member of the press, paano yung strategy mo to invalidate yung mga fake news? Yung, like, if there is a popular subject matter and you know na may mga lumalabas na maling impormasyon, ano yung strategy nyo? Probably you as a journalist and as an organization where you belong to.
Well, alam mo, after the elections, ang daming ang daming kailangang i-unlearn, kailangang baguhin in terms of strategy kasi obviously hindi nagwo-work yung ilang mga approaches. For instance, one of the main interventions is fact-checking. Pero hindi yun sapat para ma-address yung problema. Una, dahil yung barrier ng language. Karamihan ng fact checks ay English. In terms of form naman, siya ay mainly text. Wala namang nagbabasa na masyado. At saka, hindi rin in terms of volume, hindi rin siya makapag-catch up sa volume ng content ng fake information na kumakalat. At saka usually hindi ganun ka-provocative yung masyado yung fact checks. Hindi siya masyadong entertaining or hindi siya nag-arouse ng emotion sa mga tao kasi ang platforms, lalo na pag visual platforms like YouTube, TikTok, ang algorithm niya very favorable sa mga extreme emotions like anger, mga ganyan, at mabilis yun mag-spread. Sa isang study, for instance, sa US, 20% ng TikTok content ay toxic misinformation. Yung YouTube naman, ayon sa studies din, parang it favors yung emotions na strong emotions, yun nga, emotion, content that enrages, for instance, the public. So ganun yung impact ng technology. It's designed to spread antagonism, anger, kaya mabilis, kung mapapansin nyo, mabilis yung pagkalat ng mga content na nanggagalit sa tao. So yung aming isang approach na ine-explore, syempre on one hand, syempre mahalaga pa rin ang fact checking, but increasingly we recognize na the digital world is a visual world, dominated by video, photo, and yung graphics content. So yun dapat yung form ng fact checking. At kahit audio, dahil yung podcast ngayon, it's gaining ground na rin. So we have to be multimedia content creators, at hindi lang text kasi yung tao napaka-short ng attention span. So yun yung ilang effort in terms of combating disinformation. Pero we feel na talagang mahalaga pa rin yung long-term interventions like yung education ng ating public at yung pagpapalakas ng curriculum which promotes media and information literacy sa mga schools. Dapat bata pa lang ay ini-instill na yung values ng journalism, truth-telling, among other principles, dahil mahalaga na magplanta tayo ng seeds sa mga bata, lalo na sila yung pinaka-prolific na consumers at content creators sa online world, yung Gen Z generation. And not to mention na iba na yung kanilang pananaw, at saka yung kanilang exposure sa technology that's changed the way they think, the way they're wired or connected. So talagang nasa DNA na nila yung digital technology.
Oo. Laki na
So
influence.
laki ng influence, bata pa lang, di ba, immerse na sila sa YouTube, nagsisimula sa mga video content na mga laro-laro, toys, dahil yung gusto ng mga magulang, that's because that's the best way to appease them, pero grabe yung impact niya in the long run. It changes the behavior of the students. So, yun, yung isa in terms of form and content, at saka yung training and raising the awareness of kids, particularly yung mga students pa lang, dapat ganun yung approach. At saka syempre sa wider public dapat yung constant na digital literacy para ma-appreciate nila yung hindi lang yung empowering effect ng social media, pero pati yung responsibility niya as
Mhm.
netizens.
Oo. So ano talaga, no, it begins at home. So dapat yung mga parents
Yes.
nag-start ng magtanim ng
Oo,
consciousness sa mga bata.
correct. Kasi may disconnect na yung may disconnect na yung ilang mga methodology. Yung parang hindi naman yung learning process na just start lang sa school. In fact, medyo left behind na yung ating educational system, yung marami nating teachers din in terms of methodology and content ng kanilang tinuturo dahil hindi lahat familiar sa digital technology, digital information. Ang mga bata sa bahay pa lang, sa neighborhood pa lang, sa street, sa mga cafes, exposed na part na ng daily life nila yung digital world. So, all the more na kailangan mag-intervene din yung parents. Kaya sa digital citizenship program namin, in fact, we're rolling out a program that includes digital citizenship and parents are included.
Oh, digital city. What does it do? Ano yung ano?
Yeah.
How do you roll it
Siyempre,
out?
una, familiarization sa platforms, how to be safe sa mga platforms, how to engage sa mga platforms like social media. So yung mga basics muna, ganyan. Lalo na yung digital security, at saka ano pa, how to engage fellow netizens, how to deal with information, what not to share, ganyan.
Is this a
Mga
program?
community. Yeah,
Oh,
sorry.
is this a program? Is it paano siya pinopromote? Parang naging
Yeah,
interest
for,
ako.
for instance, yung isang in-implement namin yung Digital Tayo program ng Facebook, ng Meta. So we are one of the partners. So we're trying to teach our communities online. So we're gonna roll out the program on December 14. Baka nakita mo yung poster, I posted something ganyan.
Susundan ko.
Yun, digital tayo yung program. Tapos it will start with uh, the introduction to digital citizenship. Ano yung ang kanyang tawag dito? Content, and then pero it will be maybe a 3-month program eventually, that will cover various topics, the topics that I have mentioned. Mahalaga yun kasi tawag dito, we have to start really from scratch, lalo na ngayon na ang conversations online ay very antagonistic na, it's angry, it's toxic, so
Emotions
we
eh.
emotions talaga yung crucial diyan.
Sige, ano yan? Count me in. Susundan ko yan. Parang nag-interested.
Yeah, oo. Pwede ka mag-enlist, mag-ano ka. Yung isang program kasi namin for journalists at saka campus journalists din at saka DecVom communication students. Mayroon kaming platform, self-paced siya. In 2 hours you can finish it. It will teach you how to keep safe sa Facebook in particular, at saka how to optimize the use of the platform for content creation.
Okay. Okay, I'll help promote that. Maski sa DevCom class namin.
Yeah. You encourage everyone to sign up.
Mm. Sige, given that, 'di ba? So kayo may you and your team has a program na ganito. Where do you think
Mm.
we're going? I mean, as a country, sa tingin mo kailan maiaangat or at what point mas magiging conscious ang mga tao sa pag-consume ng fake information sa social media? May point ba na mag-i-improve or magkakaroon ng self-regulation?
Alam mo yun yung malaking challenge kasi mahirap mag-set ng time frame kasi it has really gone bad from bad to
Mm.
worse. Kasi hindi lang naman sa Pilipinas yan, sa buong mundo ganyan na borderless naman yung internet. So it's become a global problem amplified by the various issues na kinakarap natin, political for instance, left and right, umuusbog na yung maraming populist na regimes,
Mm.
authoritarian regimes, and paved the way by disinformation. Sa Italy, for instance, sa Philippines, yung reversal ng ilang mga democratic gains natin.
Mm.
So talagang mahirap siya. It's a societal problem, it's a global problem. Hindi lang siya problem ng media ngayon, obviously. So, syempre, mahalaga yung convergence ng iba't ibang stakeholders, lalo na yung gumagamit ng platforms, mga institutions that use the platform, like media, the development workers, the academe, the church, lahat ng may role sa society ng information sharing. And of course, whatever effort na pwede natin gawin, that's more likely to be undermined by other vested interests, kahit yung advertising world, yung mga influence operators, machineries ng politicians, kasi they also invest so much sa platforms para i-advance yung kanilang interest. So, and they have huge communities. They have mobilized big communities. They don't even have to pay these members of their communities. They just have to align their content with theirs.
Mm.
And the
Self-paying
platform,
yun. Oo, pag
yeah,
malaki yung following mo.
yeah, and just to monetize, because if you tap into these big communities, like for instance the supporters of the president, ang
Mm.
laki ng kanyang community.
Mm.
Add to that yung community na nabuo over time ng under the Duterte administration. Ang laki-laki niyan, so parang naging vibrant community na siya that can be monetized in terms of content creation. Siyempre ang mag-incentivize niyan yung platforms like YouTube, ganyan. So pag mag-create ka lang ng content, i-repurpose mo lang yung isang related content, use keywords, use videos, ganyan, or spread lies or misinformation or historical distortion. Syempre kakainin or kakagatin, i-consume ng community, mag-spread,
May
and then
nagkakaroon.
monetize na yan. Ang dami naging milyonaryo during the past elections
Mm.
because of vlogging,
Grabe, industriya
political
talaga.
content.
Naging industriya na talaga. Very ano, yun nga. Sige,
Gusto niya, tama ka.
oo.
Mm.
So it may
So I
take,
mean, how can media compete with that? Kasi sahuran yung maraming
mm,
yung media, mababa naman ang sweldo ng maraming journalist. Tapos
mm,
um yung mga content creators na iba sa development world, yung advocacies, rin, matagal mag-create ng content kasi very top-down pa rin yung approach sa maraming processes ng content creation sa ating mundo. Because it has to be polished, it has to follow guidelines,
it's necessary.
approvals, ang haba, very bureaucratic. Yung vlogger, gawin lang niya ang bilis, in a few
Oo.
minutes, kaya mo matapos kasi templated naman na yung formats ng TikTok, for instance.
Mm.
So parang hindi doesn't have to be polished. In fact, the more raw the more raw looking the content is, mas authentic yung dating sa tao. So kakagati yun ng tao kasi relatable yung content.
So parang ano nga, hindi pa, we can't see in the near future na
Yeah, matagal na ano yan. Consciousness racing, awareness racing, ganyan. Not to mention, marami pang susulpot na platforms yan. You have to deal with new platforms. Palaging nagbabago. So we just have to adapt and carry on.
do what we can, no?
Mm.
Oo. Sige. So, as a final closing message, siguro quick tip lang, more sa mga younger generations, how to spot fake news. Parang, of all the content na fina-follow, ano yung pinaka-quick na indicator na, ay, kailangan kong mag-research o kailangan kong magduda dito sa binabasa ko.
Marami tayong pwedeng tingnan. Ako for instance as a journalist, yung isang pinakamahalaga na consideration is to look at the source, to check the source of the information. We have to click beyond the story to investigate the site, where we are getting the information, what is its mission, and we have to see if there are contact details para yung legitimacy niya ay ma-establish, lalo na pag hindi popular or known yung source ng content. So that's one. The source has to be verified. Two, syempre we have to read beyond the headlines, the top line of a story or content, the first few lines, because headlines appear outrageous at times, in an effort to get clicks, kasi keyword based yan yung mga content, kasi nga may SEO na tinatawag, may optimization, search optimization, yung engines, ganyan. So kailangan, tawag dito, i-appreciate natin yung context ng information din. What's the whole story? So yung mga ganyang basic. Although syempre mas advanced na yun masyado sa marami, no? Pero these are helpful tips, lalo na pag crucial yung or critical yung information na tinitingnan natin. We also have to check the author, do a quick search on the credibility of the writer, the author, the content creator. Makikita mo naman yung kanyang background. I-google mo lang, madaling mahanap na yan. And then, of course, we can just rely on one source. We have to see if there are supporting sources. There are usually there are links sa articles, lalo na pag nasa website yung content. Click it and see if a claim is supported, for instance, by other information or sources of information. The date is also crucial because minsan pag ang mga nagva-viral ay ni-rehash lang, reposting old news stories doesn't mean they're relevant to current events. Iba na yung context. So for instance, marami dyan ni-repost na, like yung bombing for instance sa Davao noon, nalala ko. Repost, hindi naman pala nangyari nung araw na yon, ibang bombing yung nangyari. Syempre it affects yung public opinion, natatakot yung tao, etc. So means ganun yung impact ng disinformation. Maging ano rin tayo, mapanuri kung baka naman satirical or joke yung content. If it is too bizarre, it might be satire. So i-research din yung site and author just to be sure, and then what else? We also have to check our biases, kasi hindi naman tayo nag-ooperate in a vacuum. May pinanggagalingan tayong mga experiences, mga perspectives. So we have to consider if our own beliefs could affect our judgment sa isang information. Kasi ang information naman usually neutral yan unless talagang manipulated siya. Pero minsan ang appreciation ng information ay based on our perspective, our frameworks, our biases, our value systems. Kaya may tinatawag ng mga echo chambers, di ba? Nare-reinforce kung ano yung ating gustong marinig. At usually, at makikita yan sa digital footprints natin. Kung anong kiniklik mo usually, that represents our biases or our likes, our wants. At documented yan, ina-aggregate yan ng platforms and digital footprints natin. And they make sense of such information at finifeed tayo ng ganong information. Ito mahilig sa pagkain ganito. Kaya papansin mo, pag nag-click tayo minsan ng isang product, maraming biglang nag-a-appear kung ano-ano. Diba? Kasi it represents a bias, a want, ganyan. And the platforms feed us what we want. And usually, kung political yan, dangerous yan kasi that means we will just be talking to each other. We will be operating in an echo chamber. So kung ang mga tao galit, for instance, sa isang politician at may mga biases sila, i-feed nila until maging ma-reinforce yung ganong bias. Tayo mahilig gumaya, so ganon, nakikigaya na rin tayo. And finally siguro, lalo na pag may time tayo, we have to ask the experts. We have to consult a fact-checking site, for instance, or yung mga yung authoritative sources, the academe, lalo na pag sciences. Pag disasters, for instance, nako, kailangan lalo na makinig tayo sa mga eksperto kasi hindi matter of opinion yung weather or yung disasters, yung earthquakes, etc. So maano yan, crucial yan kasi for instance maraming natatakot kasi sinasabing pwedeng ma-predict yung earthquakes. Wala namang ganong technology pa at this point, pero kumakalat tapos biglang may nagsasabing may tsunami, etc. blah blah blah, wala pa namang information. So yung ganon dangerous, nagko-cause ng panic sa mga tao. So yun, I think yung ilang mga paraan para maiwasan yung fake information, kung gusto natin maging responsible netizens. And siguro yung panghuli, dahil iba't ibang generation ang pinanggagalingan natin, minsan yung lalo yung mga nakakatanda sa atin, mahirap na baguhin yung kanilang ways of thinking. So nasa approach din, we can just fact check them and go antagonistic and go ballistic minsan, lalo na pag ay sila nakikinig sa atin. We have to learn how to listen, and then we have to explain and persuade them. Usually, nangyayari yan syempre sa dinner table, sa mga inuman, sa mga pang-araw-araw nating interaction with our friends, family members, relatives, co-workers. We have to go back to the basics, yung decent na conversations para magkaintindihan tayo.
Ano din, aside from what's your bias, what's your emotions?
Yeah, kasi madali tayong ma-trigger. So bago ka, kung talagang feeling mo galit na galit ka na at may urge ka to post, lumayo ka muna sa gadget at saka huminga ka. Kasi what's posted sometimes can't be undone. Kahit pwedeng ma-delete, may digital footprint pa rin yan. So the damage is already done. So we really have to be cautious.
Diyan medyo ka dyan ng election kasi highly emotional. So tinatry kong i-control para medyo
ang hirap kaya kasi Diyos ko, lalo na pag kilala mong ine-expect mong mataas yung awareness pero gano'n ang kanyang pinipedal na wrong information. So talagang mahirap kasi we can just break relationships, destroy relationships based on one false information, di ba? It's not worth it.
Agree. Volts, 2 minutes na lang ang aking free Zoom, but in case maputol tayo, that's my last question. Pero thank you so much.
Sure.
Sana magkita tayo. Hindi ko alam. Sana may opportunity na magkaroon.
Yeah, totoo lang, sa same world na tayo yun. I mean, sa development world pa lang, we're closely working
Yes, yes.
with development workers and communicators kasi crucial silang partners in reaching out various communities.
Mm.
Crucial yung storytelling na naintindihan ng tao. So yun, that's one way to address disinformation. Tell the stories of the people
Yes.
and using our methodology or principles, which are basically the same.
Oo. Tapos later on, siguro magkakaroon ng collaboration. I hope there's a
Yep.
chance in the College of Health. Yun lang. So I'll stop recording muna.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity rin.
At yan ang episode para sa araw na ito. Fighting fake news may indeed take a while, pero as long as we're all vigilant, mapagmatyag, and we continue to correct this information in our own little communities, makakatulong tayo sa paglaban dito. I would also like to take this opportunity to promote #DigitalTayo, an online event for journalists, social media and content producers of new media organizations, and journalism communication or DecVom students. Please look for FYT's official page in Facebook to register. This is on December 14. Kita-kits tayo mga ka-DevCom. Thank you for tuning in. Hanggang sa muli para sa susunod na episode ng Fact You. Magandang araw!